intention to implement our commitments, serve Kenyans, and to do so in a highly systematic manner. Our performance shall be robust. Our purpose is to make sure that the stewardship of public authority and resources will be responsible, transparent, and accountable. We desire to actualize the twin mandates of citizens' rights and government's obligation by governing well in a people-centric, results-oriented manner. We have made sure that every ministry, department, and agency has aligned their performances and policies with the fourth medium-term plan of the Kenya National Vision 2030, which now incorporates key government priorities under the 5 better pillars. It is now a fundamental duty of cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, chief executive officers of state corporations, and the principals of tertiary education institutions to implement obligations under their performance contracts by taking every measure to execute key government priorities on time and with the allocated resources. In keeping with our commitment to deliver, the performance contracts have been perfected through a rigorous process of vetting key priorities and ring-fencing their funding through the National Treasury. Every instrument that shall be derived from these contracts for implementation by MDAs must replicate this model, and it shall be the duty of cabinet secretaries to ensure full implementation and conformity. As I stated in April, during the launch of Performance Evaluation Report, performance management shall be implemented throughout government, and no public institution funded through the Exchequer will be exempt. You will recall that in our manifesto, we set out the principles that would guide the implementation framework of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, which is prioritization, sequencing, and financing. Today, we are translating this aspiration to actionable instruments and at the same time unpacking them into the following commitments. Absorption of allocated funds, including externally mobilized resources. And we have indicated in the performance contract, which every minister has a copy, and I also have a copy. So it will be easy for us to know who is doing what and who is not doing whatever. Measures to reduce the levels of pending bills. You know what we need to do about pending bills. Digitization of government services. I already asked every minister, every PS to make sure their ministries, state departments, parastatals, agencies under them work with the ministry responsible, ICT and Interior, to make sure that we move all government services to the digital platform for purposes of efficiency, for purposes of ease of delivery of those services, and making sure that all public resources are accountable, are accounted for. I do not expect that in the next 90 days, before the end of this year, I do not expect any government service to continue in the manual framework. I do not expect. Every government service must be not just on the digital platform, it must be delivered on the digital platform. From first today, I do not expect any other pay bill for any government agency except what we agreed, a government pay bill that will be manned by Treasury. I hope we are all clear. We did agree that all other pay bills will be shut down. And if there will be one that will be operating after today, let me not say beyond that, right? Because for purposes of efficiency, we are on a digital platform so that there are no lost files, there are no gray areas, there are no corners that is gathering dust. We want to make sure that we can demonstrate productivity. It's also important that we complete projects. We have projects in ministries, in state departments that are 20 years old. I told the Ministry of Housing, we have markets, 180 markets that were started 15 years ago under the ESP program. We have now committed resources this year. All those markets should be completed as a priority in the next 1 year. All those markets should be ready. Matters environment are going to be front and center of what we will be doing as well. So the National Tree Cover Restoration Campaign is part of the delivery of every ministry and state department. We are looking forward to working on internship and industrial attachment. Again, the ministry concerned, we have agreed on what to do. This was our intention 5 years ago, but it was not delivered because of the old culture of making commitments that we didn't have any intention to keep. On internships this time round, we must keep our commitment. I have already engaged the private sector. We have agreed. Government is going to deliver progressively to 20,000 internship every year. The private sector have committed to me that they will deliver up to 50,000 internships every year. We want to see how we can grow this to 100,000 and make sure that we give a chance to many young people coming out of college, coming out of our universities, to practice what they have learned, either for a year or 2 years, acquire some experience, and find their way into employment and also into the market. Access to government procurement opportunities by young people, women, and persons living with disability. As I have said with clarity, that for a very long time, we invested a lot of resources in our human capital, and rightfully so. This year, we have committed 628 billion Kenya shillings for the education of the people of Kenya. That is huge resources. We are deploying additional resources in the hiring of additional teachers. We're deploying additional resources in making sure that we deliver on our TVET program. We are almost doubling resources that will go to our university education, and we are pulling all our universities from being saddled with debt because of the old funding model. But different from the past, this year, we not only have a program on education and training, we also this year have a program on what happens when our children come out of college, come out of school, and come out of our universities. That's why we have clarity on how we are going to create jobs this year. With clarity that we are going to have a clear plan on how to create jobs. And I expect that every ministry and every department will be aligned. Whether it is our housing plan to create 1 million jobs, whether it is our digital space and digital jobs and Ajira and ICT hubs to create digital jobs, whether it is the Ministry of Labor working with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and all other departments that work with human capital development in that space for our foreign employment opportunities, targeting another 1 million or so jobs. That whole ecosystem is now going to be part of what we must deliver as government. We must deliver the jobs as much as we are delivering on education and training. We are also going to work on the project and program of local content. As you've all seen, we've talked about Build Kenya, Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. We've talked about local content. For the first time in this year's finance bill, we are making fiscal intervention to make sure that we expand our manufacturing as a percentage of GDP in our country by deliberately discouraging imports that we can produce locally. Whether it is cement, whether it is steel, whether it is furniture, whether it is fish, and all the other things that we've always imported, when we can manufacture them locally using local talent, local expertise, local resources, and building our local manufacturing and industrial capacity. I am very proud that we are now moving in that direction.